So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Crazy Juicy Love podcast. I am thrilled to introduce you all the way from Argentina, Mr. Fede.
Yay! Cheers! Hey, how you doing?
Good, I'm good. So Fede is a high-performance mentor. So, tell us more about you, what you do, what does that mean, and how do you serve people?
Jimmy, first, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be sharing this space with you, so I'm very humbly honored to be part of your show. What is to be a high-performance mentor? Maybe it's another wording, maybe fancy wording to say that I'm a life coach, but it sounds better.
It does sound better.
Yeah, there's so many life coaches out there, so we have to reinvent ourselves. No, just kidding. A high-performance mentor means that we don't just we work with the mindset of the people, right? So what I try to do, mainly in Latin America, but little by little, taking little steps into the United States, we're trying to change how the people is thinking and is observing themselves, and therefore taking action from that. So a high performance means that we look for goal achievers that are either high performers or they want to be high performers. And a mentor, because I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. If you check on my resume, on my professional life story, I've been working for about 15 years in all multinational companies, such as some of S&P 500 or even Fortune 500 in management positions. And 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I decided that it was about time to start working for someone else and working for myself, but making a world a better place, working with one people at a time. So my theme is making a better world, one leader at a time. And out of the blue, I start giving lectures and conferences and even a TED Talk here in Argentina. And it's been a very crazy, juicy, track so for. It was very fun.
You've been doing well, getting those big high-end clients now.
I can't complain. I work with some of the major multinational companies such as AB InBev, Mercado Libre, which is basically Amazon for Latin America, and some other companies that I cannot say their names for confidentiality, because I work mainly coaching and mentoring the CEOs and the board of directors and the leadership teams.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, Congratulations on all, the growing success, because I think we know each other maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and watching you grow and seeing you change. It's like really,
thank you very much.
Inspiring to have people who are in your circle are achieving, and it's really good to see you be around those people. It just gives you that fire, to keep taking action.
Well, taking action is the power. Knowledge is not the power. It's not the power. Action is the power. You can everyone knows how to lose weight or be fit, but not everyone takes action towards that direction. Everyone knows how to be successful, but not everyone is committed to take the action necessary to be successful.
Right.
So I'm a man of action.
Yeah. So which is part of all what we're about to talk about, giving you, 3 tools that you can utilize while you're in quarantine. And so let's just hop into it. So let's talk about your first tip that you came up with for us.
Sure. First tip or advice is visualize your goal. It might sound cliche, it might sound very used.
Yeah, it's a very overused thing. So
I know, but I like to think that it's a classic, and classics are never out of fashion, right? So if you don't have a clear vision of where you're gonna go, where you want to go, you will end up anywhere,
or settling for anything.
Yeah, exactly. Or any type of relationship.
Yeah.
So if you're aiming to have a beautiful, loving, sharing relationship, visualize the type of relationship you want to be in, how you want to feel, and who you want to be in that relationship. You want to be just a giver, you want to be just a taker, or want to be working hand by hand with the love of your life. Who
Yeah.
you want to be, who you want to share that space, that time with, and visualize very clear, not just the situation, but also the emotions, maybe the smells. And if you talk about, we're talking here about relationships, so you can talk about if your goal may be moving to a new house. How do you want the new house to be? Where do you want it to be? How many rooms? How many bathrooms? If you want a new job, how do you like the new job to be like? How you want to be treated by your new boss? Which kind of values do you want your new company to be,
Yeah.
to have? Are they sharing your values? So visualizing is a very powerful tool. Our mind has the power. I think we are the only species on Earth that we have imagination and creativity, right?
Right.
As far as I know, maybe there are other species, but I don't know. So if you can imagine, you can do it. Bob Proctor always says, if you can have it here in your head, you can have it here in your
Yeah.
hand.
He also talks about, and this is also scientific too, that our brains are receptors. So whatever we focus on the most is what we're out to get. So it's like, and I remember, I think Bob Proctor said this too. It's like that whole theory around when you see a car and you like it. First of all, there's something happening to you. You're visually, you're emotionally connecting to that thing, and you kind of like sometimes physically do something. So therefore, you're like programming yourself. This is what I want, even though you may not can afford it or see yourself having it right now. But then all of a sudden, the moment you have that emotional connection to that car, you start to see that car everywhere. And now,
Yeah.
hopefully, you're working your way towards that. This goes the same thing. Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, totally. I mean, again, we're energy, right? I'm not talking about mystical conversation here. We're literally energy. Our bodies are made of cells. Our cells are made of molecules, and the molecules are made of atoms, and the atoms are nothing
Everywhere.
else than teeny tiny particles of energy moving really, really fast. So we are energy. And if we start vibrating to certain levels, we're going to start attracting those things, situations, and people to our lives. The example that you just gave about the car, let me tell you a story. Like 5 years ago, we live in Buenos Aires city in Argentina. It's the capital city of the country, and the public transportation here is great. Not good, it's great. So you have buses going all around the city. The metro works just great. You have pre-bikes all around the city if you want to do more healthy way of style. So I never had the need of having a car. About 5 years ago, with my wife, we decided that we wanted a car. I have family out town and uptown, and we decided, okay, let's stop using public transportation to go visit our relatives, our family uptown. Let's buy a car. We didn't have the money 5 years ago, so I was just unemployed 5 years ago, right before I started my coaching business. And we went to the car dealership. I sat. Sat. Is that the correct word? Yeah, I sat into the car. I put. Yeah, sorry, it's not my first language. So I put my hands on the wheel, on the steering wheel, and I smelled that smell of a new car. It was like,
Yeah, I love that smell.
oh my god, I know this is me. So we went to the sales guy. He gave us a price. It was way above our possibilities. This was a Saturday. So on Sunday, we start doing our math. Okay, where are we going to get the money? Because we won the car. It was no longer a wish. It was right now, we felt like spoiled little kids that want something no matter what. So we won the car. How are we going to get the money? Next Monday, there was a line of credit with almost zero APR, and they were asking for no prerequisites like credit history, like nothing, so you can buy cars. That was a specific government line of credit to purchase cars. And it was
Wow.
like, what were the odds that we had this right now? I mean, I'm not saying that because we won the car, everyone in the country can now buy a car, but man, something happened here, right?
As Bob
We
Proctor would say, coincidence, not a coincidence at all.
Not a coincidence. He'll say, "Is your subconscious mind working on
Yes.
your conscious mind and generating new? How is the word in English? I'm
Let's
sorry,
say it in
it's not my first
Spanish.
language. I'm thinking in English right now, so I cannot think in Spanish. I just turned my switch on. A paradigm. So it's a new
Paradigm.
paradigm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's your paradigm. You're changing your paradigm. What is the paradigm? Is your belief system. So I'm changing my belief system. The moment I sat with my wife in the car, we knew that was our car. The next day, we were sitting on our kitchen table and we were making math because we knew that was our car. Next day, we went to the car dealership and we purchased the car.
The
Right?
next
So
day.
the next day, right?
Wow.
Again, 4 years ago, one of my main goals when I started working by myself was, okay, I need like some kind of stage where I can communicate my message, but it has to be a large stage. And I'm not talking about like a major national conference. I'm talking big, big. 4 months later, I was delivering a TED talk for a couple thousand people live on the floor and a couple tens of thousands of people online. Right now, uh, companies are still calling me to give lectures and facilitating coaching and mentoring programs because they see that TED talk I deliver in 2017, and we're in 2020 right now. So again,
Wow.
my vision was I want to be on a big stage. I'm not looking for national. I'm looking bigger. 4 months later, I was talking on a TED on a TED on a TED talk. So visualizing is the very first step in order to achieving your goals. Stephen Covey, in his book 7 Habits for Successful People or Successful Managers, says on the second habit is start with the end at the beginning. You have to know where you're going.
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, I always like to use the Walt Disney example. Walt Disney, as you know, I think he died in 1969, something like that. They didn't launch or they didn't open Walt Disney World in Orlando till a couple of years later. By the time they do the inauguration, like the christening or the ceremony, the opening ceremony, there was Roy Disney as the leader of the company. He was Walt's brother. A journalist approached him and asked him, "Hey, Roy, isn't it terrible that your brother isn't here to see this coming through?" And Roy responded, "Dude," I don't think he said dude, but let's pretend. He said, "Dude, if you're standing here in Magic Kingdom, it's because he saw it already. He already has this vision. That's why you're here." So again, tip number one: have a clear vision of where you're gonna go, who you wanna be with, or what do you wanna get. What is your taste of success? How you wanna feel? Tip number one. Then we're gonna jump to tip number two: start taking massive action.
That's such a big, Tony. I've lately been doing massive action, but it's such a big thing that Tony Robbins. Before you go into that, Tony Robbins always say, take massive action, take massive action. And I haven't taken I'm definitely going to take this course. But I had a friend of mine who was in real estate. He's a real estate owner. And he did Tony Robbins. And one day I saw him, he lives in my neighborhood, walking down the street. And I never see him walk. He never walks. He always drives. And I was like running. And I was like, what are you doing? Because he looked kind of lost and the way he was dressed. And I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I just spoke up with my girlfriend. I fired everybody on my job. I just took massive action. I just need to like take a minute. And he rehired this whole team. He had a girlfriend within a month, and like his company is just doing so much better since he started just like unapologetically taking massive action. His company changed just like that.
Yes, because again, knowledge is not power. Action is power. I was just saying this like half an hour ago. I was delivering an online lecture, and I was saying knowledge is not power. Action is power. How many people there is really bright, like super intelligent?
And
It's
doing
almost a
nothing.
yeah, it's almost a cliche. It's almost a cliche. How many people are graduating from college with master's degree and everything and still doing a boring job because they don't have the guts to make the jump? Or as Nando, our friend Nando Rodriguez will say, they have a huge imposter syndrome above their heads.
Yeah,
They just not taking action.
right.
And I was there. I mean, it's not like I born like um, super bright and knowing that you had to take massive action. I was there. I was dealing with imposter syndrome for a long time. I needed a wake up call in 2000. I think it was 14. They fired me from a company. It was the first time ever in my life that I was getting fired. And I was like, they're firing me? I was a freaking level manager. How they they're firing me? I was delivering results. They were just restructuring the company, so there was nothing I can do about it. And I was okay. Now what should I do? Should I work again for another company, or should I start my own business? So I took massive action. So for a whole year, and I promise this is absolutely true, my total earnings were $500. I didn't have enough to pay for the
Your
yeah.
total earnings, like your wife must have like loves you.
Yeah, it's a crazy juicy love.
Oh my God, $500 for the whole year?
Whole year. But again, she is such a support. She was all the way through and through with this project. So it's like, Fede, we're doing this together. You're on your 30s, so I was just turning 30. We don't have kids. We live midtown. We don't have any major debts. If we're gonna go bankruptcy, this is now or never. So let's give it a try. She has a really great job with a really great role in a really great company. So I know we will always have food on the table and a roof on our heads. But it was a crazy year full of learnings, and there were some days where I didn't want to leave my bed. I felt like,
because that's my first thought, especially because men tend to, at least for me too, when you don't have that thing to hold on to, you can easily go down this spiral, because one of the number one things that for mental health when men commit suicide is like when they get fired from a job like that, they believe that I am this job, and without this job I am nothing. And so they go through this mental breakdown, and a lot of men commit suicide because they don't know themselves outside of that job. So I'm just curious, I know we're going off a little, not really, but what was the emotions and thoughts you were going through, and how, I'm sure it's probably massive action, but how did you pull yourself out of that?
I couldn't take massive action. I didn't have the energy.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so I was, maybe I went out, I get off the bed just to play with my PlayStation, or to take the dog out, or maybe to make a couple of calls, and because I didn't get any results, I would just get back to bed. And like 15 minutes before my wife get back home, I just jump, take a shower, and look decent to pretend I was doing great, and have the dinner ready, because in our society, because we have to be machos, right?
Yeah.
Even more in South America, where machism is so huge, we have to
Argentina.
Yeah. No, they're worse countries, believe me.
Well, I know, and the reason why I'm saying that, in Aziz Ansari book, they did a study in Argentina, was although he didn't do the whole country, but he talked a lot about Argentina, and they were showing one of the studies with the women, and they were talking about the men in Argentina, how aggressive and macho a lot of the men in Argentina are.
So I didn't have the tools, emotional tools, to get out of bed. I really have you ever heard Mel Robbins talk about the time she was
5 second rule?
Yeah, 5 second rule. She was lying in the bed. She was watching this NASA rocket launching. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I wish I had read that book back then, because that would be a huge, beautiful, simple way to get off bed, and I couldn't. So that's why I transitioned to tip number 3. I partner with a coach.
Mm.
So I know I had degrees, I have work experience, I have built a beautiful network of connections. I know I was very smart, not as smart as maybe other people, but I like to pretend I'm very smart. Very humbly, I'm saying this very humbly, believe me. But I know it's not. It's not that I was not getting clients because I was stupid. I didn't know how to, because I never had to go and get clients. So I partnered with a coach. I was start looking for online for some. I started looking for a shrink, to be honest. And then when there is a algorithm in internet. When you're looking for certain keywords, the ads are starting to aiming you like with all their guns. Yeah, okay. So I was looking for tools to be out of bed, like to start how to stop procrastinating, and I came up with this coach. He was a beautiful soul, and just maybe in by the second session, the second conversation we had, I was already up to my feet. I was grooming my beard again. Look how beautiful I am. And I was starting looking for clients in a very not aggressive, but taking massive action. And one of the first things I learned from him was it doesn't matter how you do it, just do it.
Do it, yeah.
The how will be solved automatically once you start putting yourself in motion.
Yeah.
Whenever you stop innovating, whenever you stop creating and evolving, you're gonna die. Bob Iger says this on his book, The Ride of a Lifetime. For those who doesn't know Bob Iger, he is the CEO of the Walt Disney Company for the past 15 years, and he says, if you stop innovating, you'll die.
Yeah.
And when you have your own personal brand, like I did back then, now I own a couple of companies, but back then it was me, myself against the world. I had to evolve and innovate. It was not longer me doing 9 to 5. I had to improve certain skills that I had there sleeping inside of me, and unleash the power within, as Tony Robbins says. And actually, a couple of years ago, I went to New York to take the Tony Robbins UPW course, and it was amazing. I couldn't believe I was walking through hot coals, burning coals for about I don't know how many feet were there. It was crazy, and that's a beautiful metaphor about if you can do that with the right state of mind, with the right mindset, you can walk through a carpet full of hot coals. You can do anything with the right mindset, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm working with people to work on their mindset to achieve any goals they want to achieve. Because if you start working on your subconscious mind, I'm sorry about my English again, you're working with all the programs. Imagine your head or your mind is like a computer, and you have your operating system is Windows 3.1 because it was the one that your parents installed, and you're still running into that operating system. Okay, now we have Windows 10, we have iOS, we have even Chromebooks, and we have I don't know what else is out there. You can upgrade yourself to whatever you want. You can customize your thoughts. You have to be self-aware of who you are, like really self-aware. What are your pros? What are your cons? And start working towards improving yourself every day, one step at a time. We start to think that we can achieve so much in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. We want fast solutions, but we're not committed to the ethics of giving small steps every day. And that's the importance of partnering with a coach or with a mentor. Or it doesn't happen to be even a professional coach or professional mentor. Maybe it can be a coworker, a friend, a sibling, someone within your closest network that could be co-responsible with you to achieving your goals, that will support you. But remember, your goals have to be huge. Your goals have to be so big that you might be embarrassed telling this to your wife, to your kids, to your friends, because you're going to think you're crazy. If I tell you right now what are my goals for this year, you'll say, what? So my goal for this year, and I don't know if is to get to make $10 million US. That's for the Argentinian
Wow.
economy. I know, even for US economy, for entrepreneurs like yourself, it sounds huge. And even for my own reality, sounds like a big number. My vision is so clear that when I say $10 million, it's already done. It's through
Yeah.
and through. It's already done. It's not even a concern. It doesn't matter how I'm gonna get there. I know I'm gonna get there. I'm taking massive action towards that direction.
Yeah, it's like I'm almost like when I say my goal, like my goal is first like with my first 6 figures this year, even though I have no idea how does it happen. I end up like, hiring a coach, and all of a sudden I created a coaching program for men. I'm like, oh my God, like now I'm gonna like all because I know it was in me, and then I just needed I don't know, a coach basically to pull it out, or be in a community that people are creating, and it just like came out, and all of a sudden like something clicked in my brain, like I can't stop creating. And I was going to say this as I was listening to you, it reminded me of one, not only my coach said this, but a guy who I had on my podcast who's a millionaire, and they both said the exact same thing but different elements. And my friend, he said, just leap and grow your wings on the way down.
Yes.
And my coach says, just jump and build your plane around you. And it's scary, like, to be honest with you, but and I always ask myself this question when I'm feeling stuck. I say, do you want to be in the same place next year?
Yeah, totally.
And when I asked myself that question, I was like, hell no. Then that makes me I start taking action. I start asking questions. I start doing all these things in order to like wake my butt up. Like, let's go. Let's do this. Yeah.
Shake your ass. That's what my friend Joseph McClendon III will say. Shake your ass. Show your attitude.
I love that.
Show your attitude. Yeah, totally. So right now I'm working with I even though I'm a high performance mentor, I'm a coach, an executive coach. I work with very how you say in English, but with celebrities, with CEOs, directors of companies, with like very high profile individuals. I still work with a coach. Not just one. I have two coaches. One of them is a beautiful soul. His name is Andres Arango. He's from Colombia, but he lives in the United States. I met him in Miami. And the very first thing that he told me when we were creating my goals, he told me, what are your goals for this year? And again, whenever you are in a comfort zone, you settle, right? So I know what my comfort zone is. For the last couple of years, I've been growing my business steadily. And he said, okay, what is your goal for this year? So I told him my goal for this year. And he said, okay, why is that your goal? So my goal was growing 25% on the billing. So why is that your goal? I say, because that's what I grew last year, 25%. Okay, that's not inspiring. That's not a big goal. You know how to do it. So think bigger. Okay, then grow 35%. He asked me, do you think you can get 35% growing? I said, yeah, if I work my butt off, yeah. You say, okay, that's not big enough. That's not inspiring. If you think you can get it, why will you jump out of your bed like a rocket in your butt? You won't. Because you know you can get it. You will just build a team like you did. You will build processes like you did. And you'll get the 35% extra cash. Yeah. Think bigger. I say, okay, $10 million. He asked me, is that inspiring for you? I said, hell yeah. Okay. And then he asked me, if you could do anything, what would you do? If you can have as many vacations as you like per year, how many vacations will you take? I say, at least once a month. And he asked me, and that was a really great question, will you take vacations once a month? I'll say, well, I don't know if vacations. I'll take, in January, I'll go to, I don't know, Amsterdam to take a training course in blah, 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 and then walk around the city. In February, I'll go to, I don't know, Aspen and take a ski lesson and then go to this seminar. On March, I'll go to this other seminar, and he say, okay, then you're not taking vacation. I say, because I just can't think about I can't think about vacations anymore without thinking about working. I think the last time I took proper vacations were last year in August. You know the story, but maybe no. I'm pretty sure no one else who's listening to this know this story. But my mom is very very sick. And last year in August, I took my two of my brothers for a trip to the United States. We went to a wedding upstate New York, and then we went to Disney World, which is like my happy place. Because we needed to disconnect with our family reality, right? We need to unplug our brains from all the stress and chaos that our family is right now because of my mom's health. That was the last time, or the first time in many years, where I took maybe since 2015. So on the past 5 years, I only took proper vacations 2 times. The rest of the times, every time I went to the United States or Europe or whenever I went, was taking a training either in the Disney Institute or with Tony Robbins or a seminar with Bob Proctor or whatever reason was, and then add a couple of days to walk around the city. But I don't think I could ever take proper vacations anymore for a while because my mind is all the time thinking, okay, this is my goal. I need to move forward to this goal. If I'm just staying still, I'm gonna die. What is the next? I'm still gaining new tools, new skills, new abilities, new competencies. What else? Who should I be to deserve $10 million?
Right.
Who is the person who's making $10 million right now? What are the skills that they have? Okay, walk the walk, don't just talk the talk. And that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like thinking like it's literally I have this book here with like the goals that I have, and I'm like looking at all the little actions that I take, and I'm like I carry it around the house with me now, and it's like just keep taking action, and the thing about action is that what I've learned by also keeping this, because it started to happen, and we're going to wrap up, that I would get upset when I didn't achieve or accomplish or finish a lot of goals that I should have accomplished in that one day. And I was just like, well, wait, like I did complete like these things, even though some of them take more time than other, especially like I'm learning a lot of things about YouTube and things like that, especially how to create effective titles, which is a skill. And I'm like, well, you're learning a skill. Like, so learning how not to be hard on yourself with the few goals that you do achieve. Like you took action, and that's all that matters. It's one more step that you took more than today that you did yesterday or last week or last year.
Yeah, totally. And you have to give you 100% every time. So let me give you, on this same page, imagine you are Usain Bolt. Do you know Bolt, the runner?
Yeah.
Okay. Bolt. He's the fastest guy on earth. Okay. He trained every single day for 4 years to run a 4-second sprint, right? He trained every day for 4 seconds. Now imagine this. The Olympics, 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. They're not gonna be, so we can just imagine.
They canceled that.
Yeah, and play out with me. The night before, he goes out drinking with a female running team from Sweden, and he got a little drunk. And the next day, he ends up second. How will he feel?
Shitty. That actually happened to some people I know in high school. They went out, drank, and then they didn't even place because they were just being that assholes.
Yeah, but imagine getting second is not bad, but he will feel shitty, like the worst human being in the world because he didn't give 100%. The night before, he should be focusing on the race, and he was sporting out. Now imagine you're from Homer, Alaska, teeny tiny town in Alaska, and because of the odds of time and space, you end up on the Olympics because no one else was on your category in the US, all right? And you end up 14th on the same race. But you train every day. You did whatever you had to do. The night before you were focusing, how would you feel if you end up 14 and you were from Homer, Alaska, and you get to the Olympics, I don't know, because of luck? How do you feel?
I think I feel great.
Great! Not just great, you will feel on fire, man. You end up 14. You were a nobody from a teeny town, from small town USA. and no one knew you before, you had no professional expertise in running, and because of some matter of luck, you end up there and you end up 14, you feel great because you gave 100%.
Yeah.
So if you have your goals every day and you didn't get all your goals done, but you did 100%, you gave yourself 100%, there's no way you can feel bad about yourself because you
Right.
give it all. You play it all out. You're taking massive action.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all that.
It's my pleasure.
Before we go, what are you learning about yourself, life, and love during this, coronavirus pandemic? Like, what is this teaching you about you? What are you learning about you?
Ooh. It's so much that I'm learning
Give me
right
one
now
thing.
in Argentina. Yeah, no. For the last month, we've been in mandatory lockdown in the whole country. So we are 24/7 with my wife, just going out once a week to buy groceries, and I learned so much about love and relationships. And the one thing that I learned the most, I really knew it, but it was just a major confirmation, is passion is about short term. It's about physics. It's about it's about attraction, but love and relationships, it's about to compromise. It's about to compromise. Right now, we live in a beautiful apartment in Midtown Buenos Aires, but it's a small apartment, and we both work with people. We all both permanently with conference calls and with meetings, and we have to learn how to be around in the house. And because we were spending so much time together, every emotion is getting magnified,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to learn how to compromise, because when you're in a loving relationship, it's about giving, not taking. So that is my my biggest learning point right now.
Great. Thank you so much. And where can people find you online?
So they can find me in Fede Fernandez Olivero, which we'll be reading, I guess, on the notes of the podcast,
Yes.
because I can spell it. I'm a spelling bee, but it will be faster if you just look at it on the comments. Everywhere you'll find me as Fede Fernandez Olivero, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, or even in my webpage, fedefernandesolivero.com. Everyone who's listening this podcast will get a free high performance mentoring call, absolutely free. Just tell me, shoot me an email or a message saying, I just listened to you on Jimmy's Crazy Juicy Love podcast, and I want to talk about, and you get a free coaching session with me.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure people much appreciate it. I really appreciate you doing this. And I got to get to know you a little bit more. And I like it. And I like what you're giving and bringing to the table. Like, you're really bringing a lot of good stuff to the table.
Man, we are in a world that is collapsing because people are living. I like to say people is having the Back to the Future syndrome, because everyone is thinking so much about the future and getting anxious, and so much about the past and getting depressed. And it's like a saw, chick chack. Dude, stop for a moment. Start thinking about the present. Start living in gratitude.
Yeah. Gratitude.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
And guys, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave comments in the box. And Crazy Juicy Love.